What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Indiana Jones because we are nearing the point where Harrison Ford is going to be hanging up his fedora and whip, and he'll stop portraying Indiana Jones. It's coming after the upcoming Indiana Jones movie comes out, though. So, Indiana Jones 5, we don't know anything about it, title, plot, it hasn't even started filming yet, is going to be happening, and according to Steven Spielberg, Harrison Ford will portray Indiana Jones in that film, but that will be the last time we'll see Harrison Ford portray the character of Indiana Jones. However, the interesting bit here is that future Indiana Jones movies are 100% not ruled out. One might imagine that as soon as Harrison Ford is no longer portraying the role, he ages out, he chooses not to do it, they choose not to ask him back. Maybe that's the end of the franchise. Maybe that's the last Indiana Jones movie we see. That doesn't appear to be the case, and apparently they have plenty of ideas about how they can continue the franchise on post Harrison Ford. The actual quote from Steven Spielberg is that this will be Harrison Ford's last Indiana Jones movie, I am pretty sure, but it will certainly continue after that. Certainly is the wording there. Now, Harrison Ford being out after Indiana Jones 5 is certainly not a shocker. Harrison Ford himself is 75 years old. By the time Indy 5 starts filming in 2019, he'll be 76. And, I mean, let's be honest, in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the fourth Indiana Jones movie, which no one expected to get made, he looked less than spry, is how we'll say it. So, you know, it's to the point where it makes sense for him to not portray these types of action stars any longer, even if they are action stars who choose to shoot their guns instead of engage in sword fights. At some point, Indy just gets too old to do Indy-type stuff. But the interesting question then is what comes next? If they want to continue the franchise, where do they take Indiana Jones from here? There's been a rumor tossed about that they want to do a reboot of the series focusing around Chris Pratt, which many people would be very excited about, and I would be intrigued at the very least. I'm potentially less excited about Chris Pratt portraying Indiana Jones after Jurassic Park World didn't really set my world on fire. And I might have enough of Chris Pratt as a swashbuckling ne'er-do-well in my life with Guardians of the Galaxy and Star-Lord. You know, those characters are somewhat similar. There's only so many times I can watch Chris Pratt do that exact same kind of shtick. But nonetheless, popular actor right now, would make sense to get someone young like that in if they wanted to continue the series with Indiana Jones himself and do kind of a reboot situation. The other option that Steven Spielberg floated during this interview was the possibility of a female replacement for Indiana Jones, which I think is certainly a wild approach. The Ghostbusters have done it. The exact quote again here is, "We would have to change the name to Indiana Joan, but there's nothing wrong with that." Now, obviously, I've also gotten to the bottom of why Indiana Jones 4 was so bad. It's because Steven Spielberg has never seen Indiana Jones, despite creating those movies. Jones is his last name. You wouldn't have to change it to Indiana Joan. A woman can still have the last name Jones, Steven. That's how names work. Nonetheless, I think he was joking. And the idea of a rebooted Indiana Jones with a female lead is pretty cool. You know, I mean, I personally enjoyed the rebooted all-female Ghostbusters, despite the fact that not a lot of people enjoyed it. But that as a concept is really fun. You can turn a lot of the stuff that happens in Indiana Jones movies on its head. And, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about continuity or anything like that. You're kind of just doing a full reboot and an interesting new take on the character. No matter what they do, I want it to be better than the last one. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was a long-awaited fourth entry in the Indiana Jones series, and it was a real clunker. If you've never seen it, don't. It's better off knowing that it never happened or imagining that it never happened. There's so many reasons why that movie was a massive disappointment. You know, Indiana Jones in the movie survives a nuclear explosion by getting inside a refrigerator that then flies through the air for miles. The ending featured actual aliens. That was the big twist. You have Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys in it. You have Shia LaBeouf in it. There's lots of reasons why this movie is not good. And honestly, with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, they all but ruined Indiana Jones for me. I was a massive Indiana Jones fan, and I left the theater after seeing Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just utterly dejected about the state of Indiana Jones. However, that means that I'm fairly open for whatever they want to attempt with this series. I'm not tied to it anymore. The sanctity of it is no longer there after they've already ruined it with the fourth entry. So yeah, knock yourselves out. It couldn't be worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So sure, I'll check out whatever you have coming. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me here on the show. Make sure to like Pretty Dece on Facebook, facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow. Follow me on Twitter @PrettyDeceShow. Finally, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find that by visiting PrettyDeceShow.com/video. And make sure you are subscribed there or subscribed to the podcast so that you never miss any of the content.